My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini and I'm a friend.
Ready? Play.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of the world, wherever you are tuning in from. Let me know if you can hear me okay. I've just plugged in the microphone, so fingers crossed that works out well. Let's share something on the screen so my head doesn't dominate. Let's share some of the scores from today, at the very least, that you can see there. Smattered across the screen are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 results. But we have to start with one result and one match, and arguably one player in particular. It's hardly a surprise that this person dominated the headlines today one way or another, whatever was going to happen. And of course, that is Rafael Nadal. Losing in straight sets to Alexander Zverev, as you can see on the screen there, 6-3, 7-6, 6-3. But how often have we said that that barely tells the story? So many times, and perhaps it's been overused on occasion. But on this occasion, I don't think it does, because it doesn't barely tell the story, either about the match, the narrative, the saga, and even the immediate future of the 22-time Grand Slam winner. Let's talk about the match, and then we'll get into some of the sort of longer-term questions regarding Nadal. Zverev broke immediately, and I think did he win the first two games, barely dropping a point? And at this point, you were thinking, okay. And of course, the roof was closed. I do think it did play a factor. I don't think it probably ended up changing the result dramatically, but it may have been even more competitive had, of course, the roof been open. Nadal, of course, famously asked to have this match during the day. I think when he did so, he was obviously hoping for dry conditions where the roof would be open, and even better, some nice sunny conditions. And if that had been the case, I'm optimistic he may well have won a set or two. However, with the roof closed, and it sort of had that stodgy feeling of the match that they had in 2022 for large periods of that first set in particular, some of the rallies were pretty lengthy, quite cautious. Neither player was really hitting through the other one, but in particular, Nadal was struggling with Zverev. Of course, I saw Matthew Willis talking about this regarding the fact that Nadal just cannot generate the same kind of topspin when that roof is closed. I also agree, though, with Damien's point of view that in a huge arena, it matters a little bit less. But it did have some of those 2022 vibes, albeit that Zverev got the early advantage and managed to hold on. He actually got the double break in the end, taking it 6-3, which meant he had the small advantage of serving first in the second set. However, it was Rafa Nadal who drew first blood, and in fact, he would go on to serve for the first set at 5-4. Pretty horrible game from him. You could argue an extremely ruthless one from Zverev, leveling up at 5-all. But Nadal had chances again on Zverev's serve at 5-all, and you're thinking, okay, take this, serve for it again, and second time lucky almost. However, he didn't take those chances. We went to the tiebreak, and the momentum did feel like it was with Zverev at that point. And so it proved. There were some epic points, by the way, at various junctures in this match. Hi, Jake. Just let me know, by the way, you can hear me okay. I do hope that I'm coming through loud and clear. I was just trying to fix the microphone at the last minute, and sometimes when that happens, we don't quite get things right. But listen, Nadal had his chances, and there were some Hollywood moments. And it's almost these moments that fill us with some optimism regarding Nadal's short-term future. But like I said, I'll come to that in a second. Good. some of the play that Nadal was capable of, and his health, and the service speeds, which I was clocking at almost 200 kilometers an hour for one or two serves in the first set, which is just as good as it gets for Rafa. Second serves around about 150, 160 kilometers an hour, but still, that is completely fine. So this is the thing that was bothering him in Barcelona in particular. And so, yeah, good news on that front. It's that gives us optimism about the future. But like I said, I'll come to that in a second. Hi, Keen. How high of a seeded player could Nadal be if he played like he did today? Keen, I like that question. And I'll come to it at the end after I just have a quick talk about the third set as well. The third set, I was on serve. Nadal, I think, got the early break again, but wasn't able to hang on to it at all, unlike in the second set. And then they were on serve until 3-all. Nadal goes down love 30, and we have another Hollywood moment with a Zverev smash, and Nadal hits a forehand winner off that smash, just scraping the line. There was probably 10 shots from Nadal today that you were like, wow, which in a 3-set match, even by Rafa standards, is pretty high. If it sounds like I'm not giving Zverev enough praise, maybe that's the case. Forgive me for indulging Rafa in this moment, but Zverev did his job. And listen, as high as Nadal's level was, it just wasn't as high as Zverev's. Those cross-court exchanges in particular, and some of the winners with a really low net clearance from both the forehand and the backhand side. There was just so many winners, particularly in that third set as the match wore on. Could Rafa have gone 4 or 5? We'll never know, but things were not looking too bad. What a day of tennis, says Ozan as well. And Kino, will come to your question in a second. But Zverev in the end from 15-30, after that Hollywood shot from Nadal, does go on to break, gets to 5-3, and then in the next game when Nadal is serving to stay in it, he wasn't able to do so. Soon was down 15-40, and it was the forehand of all the Rafa Nadal shots that let him down on the final point. But yes, I've already given you my thoughts on some of the tactics and also some of the things that didn't quite go Rafa's way in terms of the roof closing, but also Zverev's level and performance. And for me, there's one player who obviously was definitely going to beat him, particularly with that roof closed, and that is Alexander Zverev. I think Alcaraz and Sinner may have been a match or two too early for Rafa as well. But then having said that, I think they need a few matches too. So if they'd have met in the second or the third round or somewhere later, then again, it may have been a problem for Rafa. Beyond that, Djokovic, don't know. Just don't know. So in other words, that kind of answers the question, Keen, that maybe that level would have been good enough to beat Djokovic. Maybe that level would have been good enough to beat Stefanos Tsitsipas, despite what Damien thinks. Maybe that level would have been good enough to beat Casper Ruud. I just don't know. I think that level would probably been good enough to beat Daniel Medvedev. I think it would have been good enough to beat Ben Shelton, Taylor Fritz, for example. Maybe even Hubie Hurkacz, despite what happened in Rome. So, yeah, that's my talks on that level. And, of course, I'm looking at some of the matches this evening. I saw Monfils beating Sabot Wild, and I'm just thinking if Nadal gets that draw against Sabot Wild, followed by Musetti, for example, followed by Djokovic, well, who knows? But all ifs, buts, and maybes you can only deal with. I certainly disagree. Yeah, I think he may well have beaten Ruud Keen. I mean, the head-to-head is extremely favorable for Rafa over Casper. And I think in this environment, even more so, as we saw in that French Open final 2 years ago, albeit a slightly different version of both players. Now, short-term future for both players. Zverev is on course, in my opinion, for at least the semi-finals, and I've even picked him to get to the final. And that level from Zverev, he'll be very, very happy with that. Rafa may be a little bit disappointed that maybe again he didn't have. Maybe if he'd have played, Monte Carlo or something, that could have given him that extra tournament. Don't know. But now the other thing for Rafa, by the way, is he said that right now he gave a strong suggestion that he won't be playing Wimbledon and he won't be playing any grass court tournaments. In terms of the fact that he thinks for his body, it might be a bad idea to go to grass and then back to clay again. of course, there's not many clay court tournaments between now and the Olympics, which is obviously going to be on clay in Paris. So it'll be interesting to see what Nadal's plan is there. But like I said, he suggests that it's probably not a good idea to switch surfaces. What may change his mind, but he did say he's going to speak to his team. What may change Rafa's mind is the fact that he might not play any competitive tennis for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, if that's the plan that he goes with. So he might because it's not like a normal French Open where he's in the semis or in the final or whatever. And then he says, "Look, I can't, switch that." But he's just gonna do nothing for 4 or 5 weeks now. Of course, he'll have a training block and everything else, but I think he'd want some matches as well. So I'm not so sure. If he'd have gone deep in Paris, then maybe we'd be looking at definitely no Wimbledon as a result of today's loss. I don't know. Maybe it's more hope than belief, but I hope to see him on the grass courts of SW19, if only to say goodbye to that tournament just as much as anything else, just like he had that wonderful goodbye in so many ways today, albeit it ended in a loss. I don't think Gael Monfils is beating Novak Djokovic if that match happens. Let's come to, yes, I think they will play doubles, by the way, Rafa and Carlos at the Olympics. It's a big possibility. There's a few back doors for Rafa to get into despite his ranking as well. So before anyone gets curious about that. But let's come to Gael Monfils next. He won the night match on Philippe Chatrier over Thiago Seyboth Wild, 6-2, 3-6, 6-3, 6-4. I pretty much watched all of this match. And to be honest with you, the first set just was over in 29 minutes. And Seyboth Wild just couldn't deal with Monfils. But then Wild was his own worst enemy. By the way, look at that. 4 sets, 2.5 hours. 3 sets for the Nadal Zverev match was done in 3 hours. So another half an hour, even though they played 1 set less. If that had gone 5 sets, then I think we could have been looking well over 5 hours for that particular match, for the Zverev-Nadal match. But anyway, back to Monfils Wild. So many times Wild was going big on a very attackable ball and just dumping it into the net. And that summed up his performance in sets 1, 3, and 4. And I think I even said on match point, it would be ironic if Wild was to dump another one into the net. As it turned out, it was a forehand winner from Gael Monfils. I don't think Gael Monfils had to play his best today to win that particular encounter, but he's through, and he will go on to play Lorenzo Musetti next. We'll come to Musetti's result shortly, but just having a quick look around the other results on Philippe Chatrier. Swiatek through in straight sets. I think she was down an early break to Jean at the beginning of the second set, but then Swiatek went on a run, and really the result was never in doubt. So she goes through, and she, of course, will play Naomi Osaka. Jerome earlier on the channel extolling the virtues of Osaka's chances, suggesting she's got a good chance. I remain to be convinced, and I expect Iga to progress in that one fairly comfortably. Let me know in the live chat what you think. Okay, a match I also was covering, or at least keeping an eye on today, was Jabeur against Vickery. Jabeur, usual variety, good level for Mons. That should give us some confidence. I think Vickery was a potential banana skin, and at times Vickery was bringing it to Jabeur. I think she was down a break, then she got it back on serve at 3-3 in the first set before Jabeur runs out 6-3. I think Vickery ran out of steam. We saw, because of that, magic from Jabeur and what she's capable of, which we all know and love. We saw from Vickery really struggling physically, I think, at times in that second set to chase down some of those drop shots, etc., etc. And I think that was probably the main difference between the two players. The Seyboth Wild forehand, by the way, he also had bricks in his shoes, and I agree. Seyboth Wild just was not moving at all. I don't know if I said that on commentary or maybe I said it in the live chat earlier, but it was kind of curious. And Keane also saying the forehand was one of the most strange shots I've seen in a match. It was either incredible or bad, no in between. I mean, that is Seyboth Wild, though, Keane, in a way. But anyway, Jabeur goes through, as does Swiatek. They both played as well on Philippe Chatrier earlier on today. So I think, is that Philippe Chatrier done? I think 4 matches. Yeah. Okay, let's shoot across to Susan Longlen, where we had 5 matches, was it today, on Susan Longlen, I think. Beginning with Eubanks against Sinner. Main question about this was the hip, which we raised 1 or 2 concerns in the 3rd set when I think Eubanks was sort of threatening to really get game parity in that 3rd set, despite being a breakdown, or as a result of being a breakdown, I should say. But Sinner allayed those fears, despite a couple of rubs at the hip at one point in his on-court interview afterwards, when he said, no worries, hip is fine. Level seemed pretty good. I still think actually that level is nowhere near what Sinner is capable of. And I think as the tournament progresses, we will get closer to that. And probably a semi-final encounter with Carlos Alcaraz, if Alcaraz can beat in the quarterfinal, potentially, Stefanos Tsitsipas, who, by the way, ran out a straight set winner over Martin Fucsovics. But this was all about really the first set. I know Fucsovics, I think, was up a break in the second, but this first set, Fucsovics had set points, I think, at 7-6 in the tiebreak, but wasn't able to take them, and Tsitsipas won that and then went on and steamrolled pretty much the opponent, just losing 5 games across the next 2 sets as he ran out a 7-6, 6-4, 6-1 winner. Let me know in the live chat. I will come to the live chat in a second what you think about Tsitsipas's chances. I know that Gil Gross, Jamie Jubon are both suggesting that Tsitsipas can not only beat Rublev in round 4, but also Carlos Alcaraz in the quarterfinal. That would be back-to-back wins that anyone would be proud of, and Stefanos Tsitsipas in particular. Okay, Svitolina also winning in 3 sets. A real tough battle for her. Let me know what you think about that result. And Diane Parry beating her fellow Frenchwoman, Ferro, as well in the first round on Susan Longlen. And the other final match on that court was Coco Gauff against Advedeva. Before we switch over to court, Simon Mathieu, I am just going to come to the live chat, and in the meantime, I'm just going to share this screen so you can see what live matches we have on for you tomorrow. Dan Evans versus Holger Rune late tomorrow, John. It's going to be a popcorn match. We might bring you that one. What time is that tomorrow, actually? Let's have a look. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I haven't checked what we're doing exactly. We're definitely doing these 2 matches that you can see on the screen. Zheng against Cornet and Borges against Mahach. We're definitely doing those 2. We might do Kokinakis Popperin. We might do Dan Evans against Holger Rune. And we might do Novak Djokovic as well, who gets his title defense underway in the evening tomorrow. Purcell Squire was the match of the day for drama, including underarm serve in the final set. Haha. I didn't see it, but I know Damien was all over this one, was very excited by it. I think it was going on at the same time as Nadal against Zverev, so you can imagine my attention was very much on Philippe Chatrier. And Kirit saying she'd never heard of Squire before, or he'd never heard of Squire before, sorry. But there we go. We definitely have now. Stefanos is a Stefanos contender, says Jake. Pun alert. Cool. So is Dan Evans the last match on Lengland? Well, in which case, then I think we probably will do it. I just know that I cannot do anything myself personally before 5 o'clock tomorrow. But if it's the last match on Lengland, then there's a good chance I might be able to do that one myself. Okay. Cool. Borj Mahach is an interesting choice. I like it, but just not high profile. Keen, yeah. Well, Damien will be bringing us commentary for that one. Zheng Cornet, I think, is going to be with Kira and Matt. And as I say, we might do Kokinakis as well. Damien loves Mahach. I think he does, yeah. Every year he sort of has a new sort of love, and at the moment it's Mahach, I think. Last year he was all over Struff. Before sort of Struff became mainstream around Madrid time, and then he sort of stopped talking about him. But there we go. So that's tomorrow. Okay, cool. Back to the tennis, and let's get back to Simon Mathieu, where we had Vondrousova winning in straight sets over Masarova. I didn't see any of this match, but I can tell you about Vondrousova's form in terms of the fact that I saw her at close quarters last week in Strasbourg. And although she didn't really, get to the semis or the final and anything, I still thought that her results there were not too bad. And actually, I thought that bode quite well for potential deep run here. Of course, the main thing for her will be the draw. It's not a bad first round, is it? Masarova, bless her heart. I think Vondrousova is going to be the hot favorite there. But the number 5 seed rolls on, and I think she can have a good run here in Paris. I don't have her getting as far as the semi-finals, but maybe you do. Coco Gauff, by the way, has a dream draw, and I just don't see anyone really stopping her before a semi-final encounter with Iga Swiatek. And you can guess how I think that one is going to pan out, bearing in mind the 11-1 head-to-head in favor of Iga. But Vondrousova, yeah, I think she's turned a little mini corner in bearing in mind she won Wimbledon last year. She went on a run after Wimbledon, which was fairly solid. You know, fourth rounds, quarterfinals, including New York. She was okay at the WTA finals, even if she didn't make it out the group stage. But then from the WTA finals all the way through, Australia, first round defeat was shocking. I remember that performance, and talking about lead in their feet. It felt like Vondrousova was the same that day. I don't know if it was the heat or whatever that got to her. But yeah, and then her form didn't really pick up until just the last few weeks. And so I'm a bit more optimistic about Vondi as we head in also to the grass court season, which culminated for her last year in, you know, the best day of her life on a tennis court. Okay. Other matches on Simon Mathieu included Arnaldi win over Arthur Fils. For some, a surprise. Maybe, well, for me, a slight surprise. I did go for Arthur Fils to win that particular encounter. Do let me know your thoughts in the live chat. I'm going to come to the live chat in a second. Medvedev in the match I've just seen. I just saw the last few games. And it was, Medvedev was a bit annoyed at times. Seemed to be a bit annoyed with the crowd as well, even though I don't necessarily think they would necessarily hugely in favor of Kopfer. But maybe Medvedev doesn't like these sort of Davis Cup kind of atmospheres. Well, of course, being Russian at the moment, he doesn't have to contend with that at least. Yeah, so Dominic Kopfer anyway put up a good fight, got it back to the fourth set. Had his chances, you know, was down a break, got it back. But then every time he sort of had a chance, he soon ceded that advantage, and Medvedev running out a winner. But Medvedev has a tough draw. I do not see him keeping and holding that seed as far as the quarterfinal. He's just got too many roadblocks in the way, too many 50-50 matches between now and then. And I think eventually, I had him down as a slight favorite today, 60-40. I think that result pans out that way, but I think there's too many 50-50s for him to have a deep run here in Paris. But maybe the result of the day, maybe the shock of the day, I don't know. For me, it's a standout result anyway. Maria Sakkari losing in 3 sets to Grasheva. I will be coming to the live chat in a second, so get your comments in, especially about Maria, if you've got anything to comment on there. I produced a video about 4 weeks ago, a bit less, maybe 3 weeks ago, suggesting that Maria was in the best form of her career. From that moment onwards, she proceeded to lose matches in Madrid, at the Billie Jean King Cup, and in Rome, and now she's gone out in the first round for the 2nd year in a row after losing to Mukova last year. But Mukova was a tough draw, obviously getting all the way to the final. And today, losing in 3 sets to Grasheva, I saw her cutting a very forlorn figure at the end. The one thing I will say, okay, that I have been saying is I had my doubts that this coaching change was going to have a dramatic boost for her in the way that she was suggesting it would. And let's see. I wonder if she might pull the trigger on that one a little bit earlier. Anyway, disappointing for the sack attack. I mean, I'm disappointed for her too. She seems like a really nice girl. Hard to call it a big shot, says Kirik. Maybe you're right. But I just think that, you know, this is not Mukova. This is not a 50-50 anyway. But maybe it's not a big shock. Maybe you're talking about it not being a big shock because of our question marks over Mukova, over Sakkari, particularly at Grand Slams, where it feels like it's a long time since she had a deep run. French Open semi of 21, US Open semi at 21 as well. Let's have a look. Australian Open 2022. This is a long time without a deep run. She went out in the 4th round. I mean, deep run, by the way, for me means quarterfinals. So she goes out in the 4th round of Australia 2022. You can hear me typing away. It's Open Sakkari 2022. And I know she went out early at Wimbledon, I think 2nd round at Wimbledon. Let's have French Open 2022, Sakkari. Second round as well. That year to Mukova as well. She must have been sick of the sight of Mukova by last year. And then I think, I'm pretty sure Wimbledon was second round because I spoke to her after her first round win. I think grass is never going to be her thing. I know she had some decent results in Berlin last year, but that was it. So, third round, losing to Tatiana Maria. So, yeah. So 2021, that's 3 years basically since she had a deep run at a slam, quarterfinal there. Because last year, I think, was all sort of first and second round. Let me have a look. Maybe even all first rounds. 2023 Australian Open, Sakkari. Third round. Okay, third round in Australia. I know it's first round at the French, obviously, to Mukova. First round as well at Wimbledon to Kostyuk after winning the first set 6-love as well. And then US Open 2023, Sakkari. First round, Masarova. Oof. And then what about the Australian Open this year? Second round, Avanesian, friend of the show. Straight sets. So, yeah, the Grand Slam performances for Maria. I guess that's where you're coming from, Kiddick, with that one. Fair enough. If Sack had a stronger mental game, it would solve most of the issues. I think you're right. It would certainly mean she's having deep runs at these tournaments. I still think there's probably a slight disadvantage when she comes up against the absolute elite. But there's no reason why she couldn't be competing with Pegula and Goff and some of those others. And she occasionally does outside of the slams. I think she beat Goff, didn't she, in Indian Wells? Am I right with that one? Or am I inventing that? I think she beat Goff at Indian Wells. Yeah, 3 sets as well in the semi-final this year. Okay, so Sakkari is out and will, I guess, be switching to the grass anyway, unlike one or two other players that I mentioned earlier on in the show. I thought it was really tough watching Maria on breakpoint, really struggles to believe in herself. Yes, I agree. I think I saw something in breakpoint as well that I felt a bit uncomfortable with when she was criticizing her coach, because her coach was saying something like, don't go to her forehand or something like that. And then she's like, why are you telling me this? And of course he's telling her that because he wants her to win the match and he wants to prepare her the best he can tactically. And she said, you shouldn't tell me that because this is going to make me more nervous. Well, yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Well, fingers crossed Maria can recover from this and move on swiftly. Okay, Kirit saying he doesn't think her game suits 7 wins, maybe, but she's not even getting 1 or 2 at the moment. All right, let's have a look at some other matches that occurred elsewhere on Court Simon Mathieu, or at least on Court Simon Mathieu. Okay, we spoke about Arnaldi. I think we've done actually Court Simon. So yeah, elsewhere at the tournament. Let's switch over to one of my favorite courts, Court 14. One of my favorite courts, by the way, because of the atmosphere on that court, and none more so than for at least the first 2 sets of Shelton Gaston. And then, of course, it got rained. There was some rain, by the way, today. Forgot about that on some of the outside courts, meaning there was quite a few delays. And, of course, that's why the roof was closed for some of those matches earlier. So Swiatek. I think all the matches were on under the roof. Certainly the daytime ones anyway, on the 2 show courts. Maybe Longland started with the roof open and then closed. Anyway, point is this. Shelton Gaston, lots of fun, lots of trumpets, lots of excitement, lots of drama there. And of course, you'd expect it with a French player, with Gaston, with Shelton as well, with his special brand of tennis as well. And some of that was all on show today, and it was a great deal of fun. I did say, though, when Shelton won that second set, he's going to win this in 4. It had those vibes. He does go down an early break in the 3rd set, and he's down 2-love before getting it back to 3-all. And then the rain came. And maybe that, even though he had a bit of momentum from that set, that may also have helped Ben as well, too. I just think that sometimes after a rain delay, you have the fans disappear, and then they have to come back when the rain stops, if you like. And I think that may have just quelled some of the atmosphere on that court. But by the way, Ben is not a shrinking violet. He can thrive in that kind of atmosphere. And I think he was enjoying it too. There was a couple of moments with the umpire. I think when they were going to stop play at 3-3, he wasn't too happy, but it was the right decision. Anyway, he progresses after a 4-set win over Gaston today. Gaston and his drop shot. Yes, indeed. It was a lot of fun. Agreed. Anna Kalinskaya, by the way, winning in 7-6, 7-5 in straight sets over Burel. That's a tough first round for Kalinskaya, by the way. And of course, Burel, who I famously fell out with last week because I told her draw. Sorry about that, Clara, but maybe if you'd studied your opponent, just a thought, not not saying anything else. Let's see if we've Open was made today. You're going to be playing Kalinskaya.
Oh. I just said I don't want to know.
Should we do that, Vinny? If that was your only question, is it?
I mean, just okay.
No,
just
I don't want to ask on that. I don't want to know.
No problem. We can move on. But
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Well, that philosophy didn't work out. What can Shelton achieve on clay long-term? Silky Jake, I'm actually big on Shelton clay. Last year, I had a sort of friendly bet. There was no financial thing on it, fortunately for my side. By the way, M, who's a member, thank you, M. I don't know if I've thanked you before, but I want to thank you now for becoming a member. And you can become a member just like M, just like Jake, just like Ghosty, just like Jane, and so many others, Peaches as well, by clicking the join button below this screen. And yeah, what do I think about Shelton Clay? No, I'm pretty big on him. I saw him play Dominic Thiem at Estoril last year. I wanted to, so I'm just laughing at your comment, Jake, about Burel playing Kalinskaya blindfolded. Yeah. I saw him play, okay, and T won the match. And of course, we know about Thiem's travails in recent years and none more so this year. But I think for the first 3 or 4 games, it was very competitive. I think Ben was the better player for the first half of that first set. He ends up losing it, but I thought this is his first match on European clay. This year, he decided not to come to Estoril, our loss, but of course, it was North America's gain. He played on the green clay there, and I think he won the tournament, didn't he? So, yeah, and of course, this is, by the way, what you can also do when you're a member. You can do little hand signs and all sorts of emojis in the chat, but you can also get some exclusive footage for members only. Yeah, so I am pretty good. I think the movement is getting better and will only get better. I'm not here predicting, he's going to win 14 French Opens. But no, I think he's got lots of potential on the surface. I think his movement is good. His athleticism will be good. The lefty forehand, getting players pinned in their backhand corner from time to time. His health and his fitness is great. It's actually something that we sometimes forget about with players like Rune, for example, and Sinner, at this age. I think they've had a lot more health issues than he has so far, at least, touch wood. So, yeah, I think he's got a lot of potential. I'm not here to say he's going to win 14 French Opens. I'm probably not here to say he's going to win a French Open either. He's not going to end that. Is it 25-year drought for American men on the clay? Was it Agassi maybe in 99? Men's singles French Open. Yeah, Agassi beating Medvedev. Not Daniil Medvedev, by the way, Andre Medvedev. So it's 25 years. No, not Jim. Jim Courier won a couple, but before that, Ozan. So, yeah, I'm not here to suggest he's going to end that run for the Americans, the American men in singles. But I am here to say that, yeah, there could be a few more clay court titles for him on the European clay as well at some point in his career. So I think that would bode pretty well. Yeah, I think so. I think you're right, Jake. He's also got a good mentality. I think he would take it to Novak, for example. We've seen a lot of people just shrink in front of Novak and Rafa, but I think he would take it to them. There was a comment here I want to react to. Oh, yeah. Kalinskaya versus Andreescu next. Yeah. I guess Kalinskaya is the favorite for that one. But yeah, Andreescu, by the way, what a win for her today. After not playing on the tour, Damien said since Canada, but actually I don't remember her playing much since Miami of last year. So over a year. Now I know she did play Canada, but she got injured in Miami. She came back from that. She played a few matches, and then we didn't see her again. So she's barely played in a year. But for her, that win today is monumental. Do let me know your thoughts in the live chat on Andrescu. I'm going to come to her result in a second. But I didn't see it, unfortunately. But that is a very impressive result. I actually had her going out to Sorribes Tormo. Anyway, Collins Guy, Burrell, Tick, Shapovalov, straight sets win. Another good day for the Canadians in that respect, at least, with Shapo beating Van Ash. Felix also won as well, so a pretty good day for the Canadians all round. I think Diallo was a loser, though, wasn't he? Jasmine Paolini, decent win, but one you'd expect her to get 6-3, 6-4 over there on court number 7. Hatchinoff was the same. Nadal made a really good fight of it in the third set. Nadal, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. But in the end, Hatchinoff was just too strong. And Hatchinoff is someone that could quite easily, quietly under the radar, as so often is the case, have a deep run here. 4th round, quarterfinal, I think, is well within the Russians' grasp. And by the way, I was surprised by this result. And a bit like Sakkari, she won the first set. But I mean, is this the shock of the day then? You know, Haddad Maia losing to Cocciaretto. Is that a shot of the day? 41 winners in 2 sets. That is impressive, Jake, from Bianca Andreescu. But this one here, I didn't even know it because I was watching Medvedev and I just sort of flicked over. So, oh, okay, what about that for a score? With Haddad Maia, who would have been much fancied for a deep run by many people, I think me included. But yeah, that is surprising. For sure. We've got a few more emojis here. Now it's from Alex coming in. Thank you, Alex. Alex, do make sure you hit the like button. And if you haven't done so already, please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so already, which you may well have done. But anyone else who's tuning in, which we've got quite a few people. We've got 24 people here watching right now. And I guarantee you about 50% of you will not be subscribers. And that is extremely disappointing because of you people watching right now. You don't, and you haven't subscribed, you're costing us. You're costing us. I don't mean financially. I mean, you're costing us because when we apply to go to tournaments to get you the interviews that you want to hear, to get you the access to the players that so many TV stations and so many tennis tournaments stop you from getting, we bring it to you. We get you close to the action and we get those interviews and you get to watch them for free on YouTube. But we can only do that if we have subscribers, especially at the bigger tournaments. So far, we're getting the smaller tournaments. But with your help, we can get the big tournaments too. Okay. Anyway, Haddad Maia is out. What's this? Double fault on breakpoint. Like and subscribe. Yeah, thank you very much, Ozan. You're absolutely right. Okay, cool. So Haddad Maia out. Discuss it. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat if you've got some thoughts on that one or any of the other matches today. Tommy Paul straight sets over cash in. That's a really good scoreline, I would suggest, for Tommy Paul. Cash in, who's sort of turned around that really poor early year form when he was losing all those matches in a row. But that's a very impressive scoreline of 6-2, 6-3, 6-1, losing just 6 games. Tommy Paul, I think he's a potential 4th round maybe for Novak. I think, of course, Musetti is also a potential 3rd round for Novak, but that's probably to discuss on another day. Bogdan winning in straight sets. Felix, who I touched on earlier, it's a good win for him in straight sets, losing just 10 games en route over Nishioka. Scrolling down here on court 6, Daniel Collins, straight sets win for her. I have my doubts about how far Collins can go in this tournament. I think the conditions in Strasbourg, particularly on the day of the final, I think are going to be replicated quite a bit over the next fortnight in Paris, if not so much today. And I wonder if Collins is going to make it as far as her ranking, if you like, to the 4th round or the quarterfinals. Let's see. I certainly don't see anything beyond the quarterfinals, but maybe I'm wrong. If you do think I'm wrong, let me know your thoughts in the live chat, or if you're watching retrospectively, get in the comments section below and let me know your thoughts on anything that's been discussed today, whether it be Nadal, whether it be Sakkari, or whether it be Iga, or whoever your favorites or least favorites are, or any of your takes that maybe you agree or disagree with me. Let me know in the comment section below if you're watching retrospectively, or in the live chat if you're watching right now. Tiafoe, what a win that was. I tipped him to go out. I had him on upset alert, and when he lost that third set, 7-6, I thought, here we go. And Bellucci, I thought he had him. Tiafoe's form in the last 12 months, I'd say, since Stuttgart. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh there. Maybe we could probably hone in a bit more on the Ben Shelton loss in New York. But since New York, Tiafoe, his form has gone vroom. And yeah, let me know your thoughts on that match in the live chat as well. I'll come to that in a second. Wins for Potapova in straight sets, Bernardo Pera in straight sets, Noskova in straight sets as well over Harriet Dart. And the American Marcus Giron is out in 4 sets to the lucky loser, Kovalik. So it'll be interesting to see how far he can go. Shevchenko, by the way, winning a 5-set classic against Karatsev 6-4 in that 5th set. That was a 50-50 call. Karatsev just hasn't played enough tennis, in my opinion, in the last 12 months. And I think that may well have caught up with him today against Shevchenko, but Shevchenko is a tough first round for the Russian. Camilo Osorio is through against Kalinina. It looks like Kalinina retired in the 3rd set, which is, yeah, it is a trait of hers to retire. We remember her retiring in the Rome final last year. I saw her last week in Strasbourg, so that 1st set loss for her will be tough to take. Books are winning in straight sets as well. Begu similarly. Samsonova over Linette. That result does not surprise me. 6-1, 6-1. I know that not Damien, it was Nick and I think maybe Kira were a bit surprised by that result, but I wasn't, having seen both of them play last week in Strasbourg. And I know Linette had a couple of wins there, but yeah, this is not her surface, and that is a hell of a first round. But a result I didn't see coming was Kecmanovic winning in 4 sets over Thiago Montero. I saw the first set. I didn't see anything else after that. But the first set set the trend, and Kecmanovic didn't really let it go of that advantage for the rest of the match and won 7-5 in the 4th. But for me, that's a slight surprise because I think Montero's form has been pretty good since Madrid, where, of course, he beat Stefanos Tsitsipas. Cerundolo in straight sets over Hanfmann. Pretty good scoreline because Hanfmann can cause a few troubles, just like he did a little bit for Novak Djokovic last week in Geneva. Sebastian Baez against Haider, but Haider, in this all South American affair, it was a great atmosphere. The Latin Americans on that court. I think Haider had chances there in that 5th set as well. So there'll be a lot of regrets for the Brazilian qualifier, but he'll be back. And Baez goes on. But Baez' big run at a Grand Slam, we still await that, I think. And I think it won't be happening at this tournament either. There's that Andreescu scoreline, by the way. Yes, so 41 winners across 2 sets as Andreescu comes back to the tour with a bang. Her fellow Canadian, Leylah Fernandez, as well, through in straight sets. That's more about the draw, I think, than Leylah, but we'll see if she can keep that up for the rest of the tournament. Dusan Lajovic, another atmosphere caught there with that 4-set win over Safiullin. 5-set win over Safiullin. I presume Serbian contingent were loving that, especially at the end when they were having selfies with Dusan. And yeah, that was a nice win there for the Serbian. Kwon in straight sets over Rusevori. That's a tough loss for Rusevori, I would suggest, and one that I didn't see coming. Virtanen, by the way, losing in 5 sets to Misolic. Virtanen, of course, a lucky loser because he lost his final round in qualifying, despite beating Dominic Thiem en route. But he couldn't take advantage of that today, losing in 5 sets. Tomova beating Alexandrova in straight sets. Maybe that's your shock of the day. Let me know in the live chat what you think was the shock of the day. I'm still going with Sakkari going out, but maybe you've got different ideas. Lucky loser Baptista, by the way, beating Day in 3 sets. Musetti straight sets over Galan. So he's on course. He'll be playing, of course, Gael Monfils in the next round. And the winner of that potentially will be playing Novak Djokovic. But Novak Djokovic will have 2 matches before then to win, one of which will be tomorrow. These 2 wins here, by the way, good win for Pavlyuchenkova as well. These 2 wins here on court 13, do they say more about the opponent? I think in the case of Fognini Botic, I mean, it's a new low for Botic. I don't know what his live ranking is, but I'm guessing. I mean, we're looking at Botic now being in a situation where he's going to have to qualify for tournaments because I think his ranking maybe going outside the top 100. Let me have a look. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe I've got it completely wrong. But Botic's live ranking right now. Yeah, he is outside the top 100. So we're looking at borderline qualification, automatic or main draw automatic situation or not. And so that's a real fall from grace. Hi, Jamie. Jamie, by the way, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button. I really hope someone knocks Djokovic out early so I can enjoy the rest of the tournament, says Jamie. I have a feeling, yeah, he often does pull it out of the bag, doesn't he? Not counting on him, says Jake. Yeah, I understand that, but I think his draw is good enough for him to build himself some momentum and get to that quarterfinal where Casper Ruud may be the opponent. And I think I would edge for Novak. In fact, I did edge for Novak, but then it might be Zverev in the semis, followed by Carlos or Yannick in the finals. So if it's those three, but often draws fall apart. You know, last year I was looking at, Carlos in the semis and someone tough in the final. But yeah, he got Casper Ruud. Yeah, it does sometimes seem like that, but I'm sure Novak fans feel the same about Rafa and so on and so forth. Okay, anything else to discuss? Yeah, so Fognini winning that match in straight sets. I think it's a brutal loss for Botic and another new low. Over on, also on court 13, but at a different juncture. I called this. I said Kotov would beat Norrie, and he did. And he did so in 5 sets. I saw Kotov early on this year. What was it against? Was it against Sinner maybe in Madrid? Did they play? And yeah, okay, Sinner may have been feeling his hip at 1 or 2 points in that match, but I thought he played really well, and it boded well for the rest of the clay court season. And I had that in mind when I predicted him to beat Cam Norrie. But the other thing I had in mind is Cam Norrie's form, which is patchy. I think he did really well in Australia. He played Zverev. Pushed Zverev and was probably should have won that match in the 4th round, I think it was. But that's a sort of outlier for me with Cam in the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months. And this is a bit more of the norm. So a 1st round loss here. And well, maybe he'll play Surbiton next week, where, by the way, Jerome is going to be representing Talk and Tennis. So we've got some media accreditations in the pipeline with Jerome going to Surbiton. And I know we've got Kira off to Queens as well. But the only way we can get those accreditations is if you subscribe. So I know I keep saying it, but please hit the subscribe button. Okay. Shall we have a quick look at tomorrow's matches before wrapping things up? I'm actually just going to come to the live chat, actually, for a second or two. Norrie lost his physical edge in a lot of matches. Yeah, it's funny, actually, in the 5th set today, I heard people suggesting that actually it was Norrie that was struggling in that 5th set. Yeah, he's so well known for having the lungs, etc., etc., etc. But he wasn't able to show that in the 5th set today. But yes, Kira will be accredited at Queens, bringing you guys closer to the action, and me too as well. Okay, let's have a look at tomorrow's action. Let's actually share a screen with you just here a second to show you the 2 matches that we will be showing on the channel. Zheng against Cornet. Cornet, of course, retiring at this event. And probably, in my opinion, tomorrow against Qinwen Zheng. Borges Mahatch. I think this could be a 5-setter. Damien's going to be bringing us commentary on that one. Kira and Matt are going to be commentating on Zheng and Cornet. But by the way, if you're thinking to yourself, oh, just 2 matches tomorrow, not at all. We're going to do 3, 4, 5 matches tomorrow. Don't you worry about that. These are just the 2 guaranteed ones we have early on in the day. The mention of the mention of Dan Evans against Holger Rune has certainly got my juices going, and I think that could be a cool one to bring you as well, and maybe even Djokovic in the evening. We'll see. Yeah, I think so too. I think it will be. She will be too strong for Elise, and I saw Elise last week in Strasbourg, and yeah, looked like the retirement decision was the right one. Okay, cool. Anything else to just bring you before we bring this to a close? Just having a quick look at some other matches maybe tomorrow that might be of interest. Upcoming is probably the right one to click on. I'll share this screen with you now. Casper Ruud gets his campaign underway. Of course, last year's finalist. Last year's semi-finalist, Sabalenka, gets underway against Erika Andreeva. When you see Andreeva and you think, wow, what a 1st round, it's Erika, not Mira. So bear that in mind. Rybakina gets her campaign underway. We've not seen her for a few weeks because she pulled out of Rome. She is somebody who sort of plays a tournament, pulls out, but of course she won in Stuttgart recently, and she also got to the semi-finals in Madrid. She's a contender, but it is Iga and the rest. But of course, Sabalenka and Rybakina, same half of the draw, and so they will potentially be playing each other in the semi-finals. Let's see if that happens. Djokovic in the night session gets his campaign underway against Hubert. I do not see Hubert providing much of a problem, and I see a nice beginning for Novak in his title defense. Echeverry Cazorla, that's a really interesting and intriguing clash on Susan Longland tomorrow as well. De Minaur Mickelson, I think that's an interesting one, and I have Mickelson to pull off the shock there. And Dan Evans Holger Rune is last up on Lengland, so hopefully we'll be out bringing that one. Maybe I'll even bring the commentary on that one. Katie Bolter against Paula Badosa. I also have Badosa there to upset the Brit for me. I think she may well pull off that win. Buruchaga, nice qualifier. That's going to be a close one, that one. I would go with Struff over Buruchaga, but yeah, maybe Buruchaga can bring it to Struff, and we'll see how that one pans out. And Sonmez against Navarro as well tomorrow. The first Turkish qualifier in a long time. I wish I could remember how many years it was. Or the first person, a Turkish player to play main draw, I should say, at a Grand Slam in a long, long time. So she gets underway against Emma Navarro tomorrow. Okay. And a bunch of doubles as well. All right. Well, I think that brings us to an end for today's show. Let's see if there is any final thoughts in the live chat just before I do bring this to an end. Probably won't be around for the morning one, says Jake. Yeah, missing all the daytime matches, says Jamie. Only back. Well, make sure you join us, Jamie, though, when we have got some of the other shows on. Whatever the time of day. We're basically live 12 hours, 13 hours, 14 hours a day. Glad you liked the interview we did with Zeynep Sonmez. Yeah, make sure you check out that interview. And yeah. Okay, Putintseva versus Sloane tomorrow. I missed that one. Sorry, that does seem quite interesting. Yeah. Yeah, it just depends on which Sloane turns up. We'll see. Okay, cool. Jake is laughing a lot. I don't know why. And Jamie too. What was it? Something I said or something else? Don't know. Maybe it was the Elise comment. Was it the Elise Cornet comment, Jake? Was that what it was? See if I can get that interview with Zeynep Sonmez and share it with you in the live chat. Yeah, here we go. So this is the interview with Zeynep that we did a few weeks ago at the Billie Jean King Cup in Werash. Let's see if I can just post that in the live chat. Yeah, hopefully you'll be here for the review show tomorrow night, Jamie. But maybe one of the nighttime matches as well. I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm guessing maybe in Australia. I don't know. Oh, it's the Andreeva sister comment. Okay, thanks, Jake. I'm glad you cleared that one up. So I've just posted that Zeynep Sonmez interview in the live chat. So please do check that out if you get a chance. And any of our other content, which is coming at you thick and fast. All right. Well, I think it's time to bring this show to a close after day 2 at the French Open. Jamie there saying he's going to miss Rafa so much. I think we all are. Fingers crossed we can have a few more matches and a few more exciting ones from him in what remains of his career. Okay. On that note, we'll bring this show to a close. Thanks for all for tuning in, and you know the drill.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.